The truth is that before searching for happiness, you must first make up your mind to stop being unhappy. The law of success can only be learned by the individual through their own experience. People suffer not because life is unfair, but because they are out of harmony with universal law that govern heart and mind. Very good morning, masters. I'm Ravikumar from Chennai. Now let us move on to the Swadhyaya. Today we are going to see the book The Laws of Happiness. It was written by Ryūhō Ōkawa. And these are the agenda we are going to discuss today. Let me see one by one. And about the author, this book was written by Ryūhō Ōkawa. He is a Japanese author and founder and CEO of Institute of Happy Science. The author started receiving messages from the great master, Jesus, Buddha, and other masters from heaven to deliver the holy wisdom to people on earth. So, author left his promising career in business and dedicated himself to publishing the message he received from heaven. He founded the Institute of Research in Human Happiness and has published more than 3,000 books and devoted his life to the truth and ways to happiness. He made a Guinness record for most books written in a single year. Now we are moving to the next slide. How to stop being unhappy. We will see 5 different real-time cases here. People experience happiness and unhappiness differently. Author says it is a person's way of thinking that brings unhappiness. For example, an employee feels unhappy at having to commute to the office on a crowded train every morning and wishes that he lived nearer to work, but once he retires, he finds that his muscles got weaker and he was unable to walk as he used to. Then he realized how happy he was back in the days when he was a commuter. The takeaway from this is the truth is that before searching for happiness, you must first make up your mind to stop being unhappy. The next point is the seeds of success and the seeds of failure. Many people gradually develop an inferiority complex about what they experience as misery, which leads them to believe they are unhappy. They think, I am unhappy because I have this fault, I have this worry, I cannot overcome my sense of inferiority. The people who are aware of their faults and weakness have the advantage of knowing easily what is they must do next. They know the answer in themselves without looking to anyone else for help. Example, people may dream of becoming president or prime minister, but if they actually were to succeed in fulfilling their ambition, they would prepare themselves on the other side of the position, like people criticizing in newspaper and calling for resignation, etc. In the process of achieving success and getting ahead in society, the seeds of potential failure are being sown. But many people do not even realize it. The takeaway is, although success is a wonderful experience, it can also be frightening. Success hides everything, making it impossible to see the seeds of failure and other faults. The next point is the life as a journey of self-discovery. The two objectives of life. The journey of self-discovery. Everyone in the world is unique in character and should discover their own self. You should ask and find the answer to the kind of life that you have been given. No one can avoid the journey of self-exploration and self-discovery. The other objectives of life concerns the way in which you interact with others. It is a learning about yourself through interaction with others and recognizing the importance of living by having an influence on one another. The next is the transforming the way you see yourselves in success for the soul. We should be grateful for difficulties and for worries and pain in life. It is necessary to learn their values. No worries may lead to no opportunity for further or infinite progress. Example, author shares his experience. In 1985, he published 3 books of spiritual messages. and he left his mission on earth had been fulfilled. He said to himself that he had transmitted the truth. He never thought he would continue to be kept as busy as like this. When he thinks that he had reached the end, the next task appears. Then he realizes it is an endless task. The next heading is how to win against fate. Half the misery in life is the result of inappropriate desire. Half the time, the people desire are no appropriation to the situation. Excess desire is refers to as attachment, and it is only by getting rid of attachment that happiness can be achieved. For example, there are people who find unhappiness that the children are not very bright, while on the other hand, that there are parents whose children become so clever that they can no longer talk to them about the same subject, resulting in unhappiness. So, message is life is simultaneously unlimited yet limited. There are limits, and at the same time, there are no limits. The takeaway is the life is mixture of both plus and minus to make a balanced one. The next point is see yourselves in the eyes of others. For example, to succeed in business, one should think from different point of view, such as customer, markets, workers, and so on. Despite all this, if you are not able to develop, you need to look objectively at your situation once more. The takeaway is if you feel that despite your hard work, if you cannot move to the next stage of your life, it is necessary to view from others' point. Now, we are move on to the next slide. This is how to improve your work skills. The fact is that majority of the people today work diligently for most of the day in an office. Let us see 4 different scenarios here. Leave your vocation. You have to find your life purpose in your present job. This is seen in 2 ways, that is permanent and temporary. If you achieve the personal goals and contribute to the society through your work, then those people will become increasingly more adept at the jobs and have positive attitude of work. The people who are unable to think in this way and only look upon the jobs as a kind of temporary experience will never excel at what they do. The chance of becoming good at what they do are virtually zero. The next is do your best in your present circumstances. One should not be concerned about what society or other people may say. You must believe that it was fate that led you to this job. Try to find vocation there and fulfill your destiny. Even it was not your destiny to join that particular company, as you work hard, you will find a new path opening for you. But if you do not make any effort, opportunities will never come. Example, if you are going to be a teacher, you must be determined to teach people in a way that ensure the academic abilities will grow. This is the mindset a teacher should have. The next is way to train yourselves. If you train hard enough, your improvement is guaranteed. For example, no matter how clever a person may be, they will not be able to learn a foreign language without studying. Anyone can master a language only with practice. The time taken to complete differs from person to person. We have 4 ways of training ourselves for the growth. We will see one by one. Read. Use books and newspapers to acquire materials. When you think about work, the most important method of training oneself is to read books. Through reading, lot of knowledge is acquired. There is nearly 80% correlation between reading and the quality of work. People who read a lot do well at work. For example, to do cooking, you have to gather the material first, no matter how skilled a chef may be. Without the materials to work, he cannot achieve anything. And next is write. Organize your problems by writing them. This is similar to journaling that Pradeep sir asked us to do. Writing is another way of training yourselves. When you feel worried, confused, cannot make any decision, then calm your mind, take out a pencil and try writing on paper. In doing this, you will often find your solution become very clear. First thing in the morning, if you manage to write down 3 talks you have to do during that day, you will already have achieved a lot and you will find that you are able to use your time much more efficiently. Listen, use your ears or tools for work. Hearing is one of the most basic human abilities, and it is important that you use your ears to gather information that can be used in your work. Think, improve your work by deepening your thinking. When you are reading, writing, listening, you are thinking at the same time. Thinking is the another important method of training oneself, and it plays a vital role in improving your work efficiency. You must train your power of thought. The people in positions of responsibility develop a greater ability to think because they have to think deeply and go over ideas again and again. As a result, they will be able to work that generates much value. For example, when the manager asks his team about an issue they are supposed to deal with, the subordinate will reply, I am working on it and will reply tomorrow. The next day, they will come with one solution. When asked further question, they will ask more time to answer and subsequently waste several days on these questions. The message is although only one answer may be required of you, you need to think of number of alternatives. Next is the importance of planning ability. With regard to improving work skills, it is important to have the ability to plan. Routine work, there is no need for much planning. Planning involves the making of something that did not exist before. In a world of overflowing with information, the planning is necessary. People who come up with new ideas are always assessing new information. If nothing goes in, nothing comes out. People who gather information are good at planning. Introducing simple methods of improving your planning. First is KJ method. How to write a thesis about KJ method. Whenever you had a thought or idea, write down in a piece of paper and stick it somewhere you find it easy. When you have an inspired thought next time, repeat the same process. When you have collected a number of labels, you put them in order and you will find a unified flow of ideas of leading to thesis. Next is the brainstorming method. It is nothing but collecting idea of every individual for a particular problem, task, or a project. Next is maximizing the team power. A plan that is put for selfish reasons, such as winning recognition or prize, in most cases, will not be successful. For planning, you need to keep in mind the rest of your section, department, and company, and work to ensure that they also benefit from your success. You should also consider the success for the whole team. Now we move on to the next slide. The 4 principles of human happiness. The 4 ways of freeing yourselves from worry: love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress. These are the 4 paths to enlightenment and also freeing yourselves from worry and disasters. We will see these 4 ways. First one is freeing yourselves from the suffering of taking love. That is principle of love. This is about the subject of freeing yourselves from the suffering of taking love. The pain of being unable to get what you want is in fact the pain not being loved by others, of not being appreciated, be it emotional or physical pain. When you feel you are not being appreciated, you suffer. Example, I work hard in the office, but I never got any appreciation or given opportunity to develop my potential. The next is the root of dissatisfaction with parents remains in the adulthood. In most cases, the suffering that is born of a desperate craving of love. That is, example is parent-child relationship. Children want their parents to do something or wish that the parents had more power. Once children have grown up as adults, they may continue to feel that the current suffering has its roots in their parents. They complain For example, my parents were already old when I was born. My parents have been richer, etc. This dissatisfaction experience as children express itself in different ways when people reach adulthood. Next point is the people who take endlessly like bottomless pit of desire. The wounds to the heart that people suffer during childhood will often come to the surface in different ways after they reach adulthood, which makes for an unhappy life. The search for someone to compensate to fill the emptiness in their heart. The people who lead the life feeling this way are like a bottomless pit. Even if you try to fulfill 99% of their demand, they will focus on remaining 1%, saying, "This is not good enough. You have to be better." This sort of person never be satisfied. Be thankful what you have been given. People feel that they can achieve happiness by receiving only from others. It is wrong to take from others. Look at what you have been given and think about giving to others or giving something back in return. For example, if your partner comes home late from work every night, there is a reason for it. Therefore, instead of complaining, try offering your appreciation. Even a small effort like this will make a great difference. Next point is not a single cent is needed to improve human relationship. As soon as you begin to give something to others in return, you will no longer feel unhappy. Complimenting each other will make the huge difference in family. Example, compliment your husband if he comes home 10 minutes earlier than normal days. We go on to the next point is, if you have time to bemoan your ignorance, use it to study the principle of wisdom. These are the people, those who bemoan their lack of intelligence. For example, take academic qualification. There are people whom others envy because they have graduated from one of the better university. But if you imagine that these people believe themselves to be clever and feel proud of their intellect, you are probably mistaken. Those who do well at school suffer from inferiority complex. So it is difficult to judge people according to external criteria like academic qualifications. Next is intelligence does not necessarily lead to success. Do not generalize and say those who have graduated from a top ranked school have an excellent academic record are all happy. On the other hand, those who did not study much at school were good at enjoying themselves and were experienced in the ways of the world will tend to make more money when they grow up. And the next point is do not consider intelligence to be governed by destiny. There is a tendency for people to consider intelligence to be something people are born with. Everything that comes before that is related to the previous life and has nothing to do with the current life. You will only be evaluated according to the extent to which you made an effect in this life. What you learned at school will provide you with good foundation, but the law of success can only be learned by the individual through their own experience. People who succeed in mastering this law are considered intelligent. You can win the next point is you can win the battle with yourselves. It means true happiness comes from overcoming your inner struggles such as negative thoughts, selfish desires, fear, laziness. Rather than defeating external enemies, the greatest victory is our self-mastery. If you have knowledge, you will not fail. Wisdom is safeguard against mistake and suffering. Author teaches that ignorance leads to repeated errors and unhappiness, while knowledge, especially the spiritual wisdom, provides clarity and direction. Example, freedom from suffering. By studying truth, you stop blaming circumstances and instead learn how to transform them. Foundation for progress. With the knowledge, your efforts are not wasted. You build on truth and avoid repeating mistakes. And the next point is self-reflection, cuts off negative spiritual influence. The principle of self-reflection. Many human beings are unconsciously guided by lower, harmful energies rather than divine truth. Author warns that ignorance, selfishness, and attachment open the door to negative spiritual influence forces, which distort thinking and lead to unhappiness. Next, the simplest weapon for fighting negative spiritual influence is self-reflections. The most effective way to protect yourself from harmful energies is to look inward, examine your thoughts and actions, and purify them instead of relying on external defenses. Author emphasized that the mind itself, when disciplined through reflection, becomes the strongest safeguard. Next point is attachment is a cause of spiritual disturbance. Clinging too tightly to desires, possession, relationships, or ego-driven thoughts creates imbalance in the mind and opens the doors to negative spiritual influence. True happiness requires freedom from attachment because attachment binds the soul to suffering. How to eradicate attachment? Attachment, whether to material things, relationship, status, or ego, are the root of spiritual disturbance and unhappiness. To eradicate them, author advises cultivate self-reflection, love, and wisdom so that the soul can live freely without clinging. Next is the possessing has nothing to do with intelligence. Owning wealth, property does not reflect true wisdom. Intelligence in author framework is measured by how well you understand spiritual truth and apply it to live in harmony with love, wisdom, self-reflection and progress, not by how much you possess. The next point is thoughts will manifest themselves. That is the principle of progress. Your inner world inevitably shapes your outer reality. What you continuously think, whether positive or negative, will materialize in your life through actions, circumstances, and outcomes. The next point is love, wisdom, and self-reflection are always of achieving progress. The true growth is achieved through the balanced practice of love, wisdom, and self-reflections. These three principles are not separate but interconnected forces that continually move the soul forward towards happiness and enlightenment. The next point is live so that your happiness will lead to happiness of humankind. True happiness is not selfish. It radiates outward. When cultivate joy through love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress, your inner state naturally uplifts others, creating a ripple effect that contributes to the collective happiness of the humanity. If we follow all the four principles, it will cut off negative spiritual influence. As we do the spiritual development, is sure to take a great leap forward. Now we move on to the next slide. This is making a hope for happiness. Modern fourfold path as a principle of happiness. That is principle of love, principle of wisdom, principle of self-reflection, and principle of progress. This is called the modern fourfold path. To attain this path, you have right mind to find Buddha nature and divine nature within and practice the four principles of love, wisdom, self-reflection, and progress as concrete goals in our daily life. Next is the principle of love. Giving love without looking for anything in return. Giving love is not attachment. The stages of development of love. The love can be classified into four stages. First, fundamental love. Fundamental love is a love from family, friends, neighbors, and others you can come into contact with daily life. Then, spiritual nurturing love. It is a love that requires wisdom and it combines gentleness and strictness in the necessary degrees. For example, you praise someone who is making a mistake. With the result, you aggravate the wrongdoing. So you need wisdom to find the truth. If you manage to achieve this level of loving, you will recognize as an excellent leader in the world. And next is the forgiving love. Forgiving love, the kind of enlightenment that is able to see the divine light in all beings, is the characteristics of the stage of forgiving love. For example, if others find it difficult to love these people, you will come to be willing to love them for the Buddha nature, for the light of Buddha that is in them. Love incarnate. It indicates a state where a people's very existence represents the spirit of the age, shining light upon the world. This stage is not something you yourself search for it. It is public and later generation that will acknowledge it. It is a determination to cast light on many, not only on the people around you. For example, someone who radiates love naturally, such a person uplift others and bring harmony and simply through their presence, like our Pradeep masters. Next is the principle of wisdom. The principle of wisdom begins from a study of the truth, but it does not simply mean storing this as knowledge. Use this knowledge in your daily life and put it into practice in missionary activities or in workplace and experience it as your own experiment, enlightenment and thereby converting into wisdom. The next is the principle of self-reflection. Through self-reflection, you can undo past deeds. If you reflect on your past with a pure heart, you will be able to wipe out all the records that have been written as losses. In the same way as you erase with an ink erases what you have written. This is a great power with which you have bliss. You should make a new start with the spiritual refinement and the self-reflection and alter yourselves. When you recede as certain level, doing this, you will find that your past sins have been entirely erased. You may regret what happened in the past, but once you have repented your mistakes, do not focus too much on what cannot be changed by repentance. It is not too good to magnify these things. Just live this life to the fullest and look for the lesson in it, and that will help improve your life in future incarnation. Like Pradeep Master said, you have to go with the flow. The next is the principle of progress. The happiness is the one that brings happiness to the others and to us. This is the one we take it when we return to the other world. The world to be changed into the land of Buddha. The people learn the truth with the right mind and strive to practice the principle of happiness along with the fourfold path. Through mastering the principles of love, wisdom, self-reflection in the correct way, the principle of progress will also flow in the right direction. Use these four principles in your self-refinement. And we move on to the next slide. Believe in the advent of age of the sun. The next point is turn your perspective around to achieve happiness. The ideal attitude of people is to have faith and to live by giving love. We must live to love and compassion, just like sun gives light to the earth without taking anything. The mind is the true essence of soul. The essence of being human is the ability to change our mind and make decisions of our own free will. This essence continues to exist in the other world after the body has disintegrated. Only our thinking and ideas remain. Only your thoughts and your thinking function will go to the next world. Point is, achieve higher level of enlightenment allows better planning for the future. Jesus Christ lived on this earth for 33 years, but his work did not end when he left his physical body. His thoughts are still active today. Buddha left the world 2500 years ago. However, the Buddha, compassion and enlightenment still exist today. This is a mystery and wonder of the spirit world. Human beings are spiritual beings. The level of thought you will be able to tell which level you will inhabit after death and in which realm you use it to inhabit in the other world. The level of enlightenment will allow you to design a better plan for the future. What is God's plan? First one, the spiritual refinement is of primary importance in your life on earth. Second is the passing on knowledge of the truth is an expression of love. And third is we want to convey the truth to the greatest possible number of people. And now we move on to our next slide. There is conclusion and takeaway. There is happiness is within you, not something others gives you. Unhappiness is a signal that something which needs correction. Work and family life are spiritual training grounds. Personal growth contributes to global happiness. Happiness is a inner state shaped by spiritual discipline. According to author, people suffer not because life is unfair, but because they are out of harmony with universal law that cover heart and mind. I am very thankful to Pradeep Master and his team for full support and guidance. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you very much.